Hello, anyone around? So I'm just going to watch some old DVDs or base instructional things. Nothing too hectic. This is my fretless. I don't know. You've probably never heard. There's something weird going on with the connection. It's like going in and out. I don't know what's going on there. Let me fix this. There, that'll be better. At least if I'm flickering,
I would play the
you can
organ.
watch this.
Bass pedals with my foot. See,
Larry Graham, Super Slapping
pretty
Bass
good.
TV.
But the
The quality of some of these is terrible. So let me just mess around on. All right. Okay, let me just put that bass down. All right. So this is one of the first actually DVD bass videos I ever saw. This shows how new I am to streaming. I'm trying to watch myself watching a DVD. So wrong tab. Here we go.
in the rain. Although the sun is shining, still it brings me pain.
Okay, what's going on here now?
While people break up, break up. Hey, baby, yeah. Ain't no fun. Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. Gotta fix something here. This is my next podcast I'm working on. There we go. So yeah, I have Katie True on the podcast this week. Double bass player, singer, original artist, cool lady. She gets loads of interesting stuff to talk about. So let me share that again. So I don't know what's going on with that weird glitching. Definitely not. It's kind of annoying. What can you do? There we go.
I really ain't no fun to me. Really ain't no fun to me. Yeah. You make me feel
Love this. The white, everything. White bass, white matching headstock, white suit, white drums, white shirt on the lad, even though it's so pixelated you can barely see. Can I get this better quality? No, this is as good as it is. Let me just get up on my phone the stream so I can see what if you're saying anything.
I wanna think about it. I wanna sit down. Sit right down. I wanna think about it. I wanna sit down.
I'm sure you know that Larry Graham invented slap bass on a Sly and the Family Stone song. Groovy motherfucker. Oh. He's actually a class singer as well. I noticed that he has the neck pickup on this. I don't know what company he had making this signature jazz firm, but it's tilted at an angle, kind of like the Chowney Scott Whitley signature basses. Perfect for that slappy poppy thing. So I'm just going to mess around on the bass for a while till some people arrive. Because I want you to see like the Larry Graham DVD. How am I getting no sound? Oh. So I'm actually going to be on a podcast this week. I'm going recording a podcast, and I won't say who it is. I'll say that when it's done. But anyway, I have to send them some of my bass tones. So I suppose I've been going through the tones this week. I had a gig actually on Saturday, my first gig since in a year and a half. It's pretty cool to play in front of people. So it's going. Got to use my pedal board properly through a big PA, which there's nothing like it. So go through a few sounds that I use live. So have my generic. I don't use a fretless live. I just use them in the studio. So I always just use loads of chorus and the bridge pickup. Since I just fixed this bass and got the bridge pickup working again, so I use. That's kind of my 80s fretless sound unfretted. Did you ever try to do that thing in Portrait of Tracy? So Jacko does like you've probably you've heard this, but he does these artificial harmonics with his thumb. But in Portrait of Tracy, he does the whole artificial harmonic with his left hand. So he puts his first finger on the second fret of A and his pinky on the sixth fret. So he's doing what you'd usually do with your thumb and your index finger, just by doing it with one hand. I can do the stretch because I have pretty big hands, but it's just you'd have to do it a lot to get good at it. So I just skip that bit of it. So anyway, this is like the intro to Portrait of Tracy. I've never learned anything beyond this, and that's pretty much all I know about harmonics. practice in? Yeah. And after that, I kind of never learned anymore. So yeah, that's my kind of fretlessy sound at gigs. Then I have like my fuzz sound. That doesn't sound that does not sound very fuzzy. What's going on there? There we go. Cha cha. It's too hot. So that's my fuzz. It's just with a big muff. Then I got this got this wah pedal. It's a bit loud there now. So I like this. It's called the Funk Wah Dual Funk. It's a bass wah. Very funky. I kind of use it as a high pass filter to get like those really high notes. Sometimes I can do like, oh yeah, this is what I do. It just makes the note sustain for ages. And then I love this pedal. It's almost like completely pointless, but also completely brilliant. So it's the bass synth wah by Digitech, and the tracking on it is terrible, but that's kind of what I like about it because it sounds so artificial. That's one sound I use on it, and then this is the other sound I use. I only use two sounds. It was kind of like generally with effects. Well, always with effects, you should like use them for the song and don't try and put a square peg into a round hole. But when it came to this pedal, I literally just wrote all the riffs to this song and the bass lines just so I could end up getting to play it every night using this pedal. So I use this sound. So the drums are like going really fast and the pedal is doing that. Oh, it's not going to work the way I have the thing set up. All right, so let me go back to watching these DVDs. So starting with Larry Graham's super bass slapping instructional video. Oh crap! There's too many wires here. So we'll start with Larry Graham's super bass slapping. So it kicked off. He was just playing some and doing some class singing. He's just got a great tone and touch for the bass.
there's a style of bass playing that's real popular these days. A style of bass playing that has survived the 60s, 70s, 80s, survived in the 90s. And it's called pumping and plucking, slap bass, chopper bass, you name it, it's been called many things. But the point is, it's playing with your thumb and fingers thumping and plucking style. Now, it got started some years back. My mother and I were working together, see. We were playing nightclubs. And for a while, we had guitar and piano and the drummer. And I would play the organ, bass pedals with my foot, see.
He's
sounded pretty good.
He's going to explain how he invented slap bass here now. Obviously, I've seen this before. So I don't want to interrupt the man himself. So that's what he's doing. He's talking about how he invented slap bass.
Good. But the organ was so old that it broke down, you see. And we couldn't get that old thing fixed. So it kind of sounded kind of empty not having a bottom. So what we did is I went down and rented an old St. George bass. And I said, well, I'll just do this for a little while, so there was no need in me trying to play like this like everybody else, you know. I said, nah, that don't even feel good to me, you know. So I just thought I'd play like this because I thought I'd go back to guitar in a while anyway. But the old organ was so old it never could get fixed. And I got stuck on the bass. So after a while, it was just me and Moms, no drummer. And to make up for not having a bass drum, I would thump the strings just like this. Remember, I didn't have a bass drum, so I did this. And to make up for not having a snare drum now, because see, I was used to playing with that backbeat. I had pow, pow, pow. So I didn't have that, so now
the drummer is class, actually. That's what.
And pluck.
This bass sounds amazing. This white fretboard and everything.
So there was this lady used to come down and hear me and Mom's playing. She was also a fan of Sly Stone, who was on the radio at the time. She told her to come down and check out this bass player before you start your group. Check him out. I think you might like him. So he came on down to the club, and he heard me doing my thumping and plucking, asked me to join his group. The group turned out to be Sly and the Family Stone. And through that group, my thumping and plucking became popular all over the world with songs like this. Dance to the music. 1, 2, 3.
Love how he sings without a microphone. He's loud enough to be higher volume than the drums and the bass.
So that the dancers just won't hide. Remember that?
This is how you do an intro to a bass DVD. Scott's Bass Lessons need to start getting their intro game up, like, you know. Love Scott's Bass Lessons, but they take themselves too seriously sometimes.
Well, it was a hit record. And through that song and many others, my style became popular. That wasn't the only one now. See, because what happened is after that was a hit, we went back in the studio, and I got a chance to thump and pluck on a song like this. Thank you, 2, 3,
This is it. This is the first recorded slap bass in music. What the hell is? Let's see what he's doing there. Boom, do, 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 do. Boom, boom, do, do, do. Yeah. Let's see what way he's playing.
But let me be myself.
Do, do. Oh. I used to do a lot of popping and slapping, but you really lose it when you don't do it anymore. I can get the sound, but I can't really get it to flow like I used to, where you're kind of, you don't need a drummer to back you up.
It was a hit record for us. So now my thumping and plucking was popular. But the next time we went back in the studio, I got a chance to do something that we thought was pretty unique. I got a chance to thump the whole song. In fact, the note never changed on the whole record. It's a song that went like this.
Groovy. All right, let's skip on to him actually teaching us some bass.
Into different patterns and rhythms and the interaction between the drums and the bass, which is very important. Right now, I'd like to introduce you to someone that's very important to me in my life. I'd like to introduce you to Sunshine. Say hi. Hello. This is Sunshine. This is actually a bass that was made by Moon, M-O-O-N. And what happened, briefly, to tell you a little story, is when I came to Japan the first time, they said that we'd like to make a bass for you.
Moon.
And they brought me the various types of basses that they make. And I picked out the various things that I liked about the basses, added some things that I didn't have in a bass that I owned, things that I had picked up from other basses I had played.
All right, let's check out a different one. I'll come back to that one. Let's go to one and see some actual teaching of the bass. Chris Squire from Yes. Get it up here now. It's Chris Squire talking about getting his first Rickenbacker.
And all the way through Yes's history as well. So yeah, it's still
the
here.
sound quality in these is pretty terrible.
As a matter of
so
interest and
nothing I can do about that.
Rickenbacker have actually just come out with this copy of it, which they're marketing with my signature, which is like a D major, which is like.
I was watching this earlier. He's doing some cool stuff.
Which is the low D, the A, which is the fifth, and the octave D, and then the third on the top.
So you're utilizing your thumb in
there? Yeah, using my thumb, yeah. And down to C, to B flat, to A flat, to G. I'm the walrus, folks, actually. So that's your standard major. That's the standard major chord, and there are other.
So he's doing some inversions there. That is "I Am the Walrus" by the Beatles. Well, actually, I'm going to do a video on that soon on this thing about inversions. So I have a way of doing it. So if you do like the root chord, which would be your root note on the bottom, your third, and then your fifth. So like the way you're told a chord is made, a major chord is a root, a third, and a fifth. So always put the root on the A string. So there you go, root, third, fifth, and you just need to find the root on your A string. So there's C major. So say I was looking for F major, I'd start here on the F on the A string. But then first inversion means you put the You put the root on is the second note, and the fifth is the first note. So it's fifth is the lowest note, the root is the second lowest note, and the third is the highest note. So for this, if you're doing a first inversion on the bass, find the root on the D string, and then do this shape that he's doing for this. So he didn't even, I don't think he mentioned that he was doing inversions there, but it was actually a first inversion chords he was doing. So the C is on the D string, the fifth is on the A string, it's the lowest note, and the third is on the D string up here on the ninth fret. So you get this. So that's C first inversion. So you're putting C on the 10th fret is what you're aiming for. So yeah, so when you're doing a root position chord, your root's on the A string, the third string. When you're doing a first inversion, your root's on the second string. And when you're doing a second inversion, your root is on the G string. So which is here. So you put C here, you get this. Okay, let's go back to Chris Square.
Other chords I use, there's like what chord is this really? I suppose it's like a seventh, which is like kind of a jazz blues chord, which is like. That's one I haven't used an awful lot, but that's more for amusement at home. Let's see.
So you've heard that in Groundhog's Day by Primus. Use it. Can't quite remember how it goes, but he's definitely doing a 7 chord. So cool. Good man, Chris Square. Well ahead of his time playing all these chords, and a completely self-taught bassist as well.
In Silent Wings of Freedom, which is on the Tomato album, there was a bass solo on there that utilized quite a lot of high note chording, including playing the low notes at the same time, where I played the riff like the. So that's a different inversion of the major chord, with the fifth on the top, the third in the middle, and the E root, which is the normal.
There you go. He just did the thing I was talking about and explained badly earlier. He was. Oh, he has way more frets than me, though. I can't do that.
And yeah, I think I've used other chords too. I mean, there's kind of a ninth.
He's doing all the cool chords.
Great. You know, in the song, I've Seen All Good People, it really sounds like a lot of blues applications to me on different changes, but you make so much
great haircuts
in
these.
On that riff. Can you maybe demonstrate that riff for us?
Thank God for
sure,
the 80s.
yeah, it's kind of a blues riff, but the odd thing about it is that it contains a major third instead of a minor third. I mean, the usual blues notes usually in the key of A would be A.
He really knows his theory.
E, D, C natural, and A. But in the application I've Seen All Good People, I use the C sharp instead. Which so that will be A, G, E, D, C sharp, and A. And so the actual riff is. and on into the verse. So.
Yeah, I'd find when you're playing, you will often put in a major third in a song or a major seventh. So they're kind of what you might call bass tropes. So a phrase like. So if you're doing a dominant chord, you'll throw in that passing major seventh. Same with the putting in the major third in a dominant seven chord or a minor seven chord. You get that sound.
Yeah, I like that riff.
That's a great riff. Now, what about roundabout?
I thought you'd ask me that.
Has to teach us
The
roundabout.
sound on that particular track is, and just the way you played it, is just like a rock classic.
Yeah.
Explanation on that?
Well, in actual fact, not many people really know this, but in actual fact, there's two guitars playing that. It was, although I could get away on stage with just playing this, when I actually played that originally in the studio, it was actually this bass with more treble on it, a bit like this.
Go on. This is the classic.
That classic metallic sound, but along and combined with that, actually there was a very mellow Gibson acoustic,
Did not know that.
acoustic electric guitar, which I believe was not actually electric through the ball, but just had a mic on it in the studio, and I was ghosting the part an octave higher. And that was slightly mixed in, but I will, however, play it for you on the Rickenbacker right now.
All right.
I have to try that. Definitely needs to be more metallic, but I don't have any EQ right now. Nice. Well, that wasn't nice, but
it's
a nice riff.
For our viewers that don't know, Chris was the first bass player to knock Paul McCartney off the Melody Maker hottest bass player.
Well, yeah, back in the 70s, I guess it was. Yeah, the Melody Maker magazine, which was the main.
The thing about these old videos, like all these bass players, they weren't really teachers, you know. They were famous bass players, amazing players, but I don't know how much thought went into the teaching aspect of the videos. Like you'd pick up a lot from watching it because, you know, just to hear someone talk about what they do on the bass. But these days, like they're really sold more as, you know, they have to be perfect. You have to have loads of PDFs and tabs and stuff to go with it, and it's all well thought out in advance with all the exercises they're going to do. But these are definitely more like just a chat and just seeing what he can do, and they actually are really informative. You learn a lot even just by in this way. Like obviously these days you learn way more. Like you'll learn absolutely everything about how a bass line was done, and you'll get loads of exercises if you pay for a master class.
The most widely read musical paper, weekly paper. They used to have a yearly poll that everyone would vote on, and yeah, Paul McCartney, obviously being rather well known, won it quite often. And yes, and I think around about 1972 or 71 or something, I think I won it for the
Let's
first
skip
time.
on. See, I want to hear some bass playing.
5 album.
Oh, he's got some an Ibanez or something out now.
Fugit, on the drama album. Apart from that, it also has.
He's picking out some crazy basses here.
Using is the flanger, which sounds.
Oh, there's effects on the bass. I want to see him take this one out.
And
love to hear it.
What the hell is this thing?
On the drama album, and what was interesting about it is the way it had built-in effects into the back of the body, which meant that the sound of the effects was real clear and real. There was no miles of cable to lose the potency. If you'd like to hear a bit of that.
I'd love to hear it.
Okay, well, we'll hear a bit of that.
Look at this show. Doesn't really sound great, does it? It's a bit of a monstrosity, this thing. It's funny, like this is actually starting to become a thing now. With Darkglass just brought out, and Music Man brought out that new Stingray with the onboard distortion. And here we have in the 80s, Chris Squire was doing this already with this bass that has like a flanger and a few other things stuck into it.
Interesting sound.
Yeah.
Yes, interesting.
About,
well put.
9 years ago, I think they made this, and they were going to market it, but it didn't actually go on the market. But I always felt it was a shame it didn't, because it had a unique thing about it, that it had effects that were built straight into the back of the guitar. In fact, I'll demonstrate first of all. One of the effects, it has a low
That thing
octave,
is a
drop
Frankenstein
on. So
monstrosity.
regular note,
It should be put down.
sounds like that, and you put the low octave in, and you get the lower, 1 octave lower. Apart from that, it also had the other effect I was using is the flanger, which sounds like.
It just doesn't make sense to put them in the bass because you can't really control them,
that kind of aeroplane-y sound.
and you can't
it's a very
decide.
unique system. I'll show it to you.
You can't decide where in the chain that they're going to go. So sometimes it sounds better to have your octave before your fuzz, sometimes after. All these different things. So I don't really see the point of putting them in. And also, you can't turn on an effect while you're playing because you have to hit a switch. So I don't know. I think it's kind of innovation for the sake of innovation.
In the back of the guitar, they just had this flap, and you just
Does come with a flap though.
could pull these things in and out. They made about 16 of them in all, and like wah-wah sounds.
That is
and,
cool. You can put in new effects. Never
all
saw that
kinds of
before.
neat little sounds. But the reason why it sounds so present, I think, is because the effect is right close to the guitar without it having to go through a lot of cable. And who knows, maybe one day they'll come out with it again.
I know they
So
did
that's the
in
MPC
2021.
bass.
All right.
Only took them 30
What
years.
other basses can you show us?
Well, yeah, there are two more basses.
Go on, get them out.
One is the 8-string bass, and then moving on from that is the 8-string bass, which doesn't have the low part, which is actually just the high part of the 8-string bass. So first of all, I'll show
pick it
you
up.
the Rani bass.
Sounds like it's out of tune. Like the riff though. Wonder what it would sound like if I used my octave up. That's actually kind of close to what he's doing.
Yeah, that was the beginning from Changes from 90125 album. And this, as I said, was an 8-string bass. And they've been around for a while. But I actually made a little...
Hi, how are you all doing?
own
So I'm just watching some old bass videos and playing along with them a little bit, just having a mess. So first started with Larry Graham. This was Chris Squire. So let's check out maybe Lewis Johnson, Slap of the Bass one. I'll keep playing that one for a minute until I get Lewis up.
That tune. The bottom 2 strings are tuned normally as in an 8-string bass, where you have the low E string and the higher E above it that you play at the same time. So you get...
Let me share Lewis Johnson. So we got Lewis. Here we go. This was a really good one though, because people really didn't know how to slap the bass. They were just hearing it on record. So this was a very popular instructional DVD back in the day. They're all terrible quality,
Thumb,
but what
which
can
is
you
a
do?
totally different sound than if you was to go. It's like it. So
Of course, Lewis Johnson played on a lot of Michael Jackson records. Get the bass on Beat It.
Sounds slicker. When you
Get on top.
You did it like this. Sounds harder.
So first we were looking at Larry Graham, and he invented slap bass, but he had more of a very tidy slap technique, more like a modern Yeti's thumb up actually. And then Lewis Johnson came out with this ferocious kind of slap technique, which Flea also does. So let's check him out. And he actually is big onto that, really aggressive. He thinks that's important for the sound. But most people today just do this kind of reserved.
You're pulling. So some things when you're thumping, you want to hit with your thumb going down. Pull it up and then come down with your right hand. Pull up, come down. And that'll make it flow better and much easier for you to thump. And now we're going to play it slowly.
Yeah, there's some great lines in this video. It came with a booklet showing you how to play them as well.
And now this bass lick is a very common lick that every bass player that thumps, they all do this lick. The only difference is they can't do it this fast. And what I'm doing,
Hammer on to the A string,
is I'm hitting the E octave on the A string and then pulling up. It's just octaves. I'm hitting an A before each one. And I'm just going
Calm
up,
down, Johnny.
down chromatically.
Let me get that comment up. Where do I get the comments up?
Let me just go crazy. And once more, slowly.
Johnny's saying he can't slap with his thumb down no matter what. Oh, I thought you did have your thumb down. I actually learned with it down, and I've been trying to do it with my thumb up for the last few years. It's just because you can't do double thumb if you have your thumb down. So. But yeah, this guy was just ferocious. This is how you do it.
And this is lick number
Boom.
4.
Oh,
And it's a very
smooth.
unusual lick because most of the bass thumpers usually place their thumps around E because it's open and you can pull all the strings around. It's very easy to play in E. But most thumpers cannot play like that in another key. The secret to that is
I actually
you
learned
have
this
to
off
have your
him.
thumb on the E string, and you
I learned this technique off him. I had never done this before till I saw this video. So you just put your thumb, using your thumb as a. So I just get you out of playing everything in E blues jam.
You use that as the key note and you play around with the other fingers like this. Now what I'm doing is I'm using my A, just like if I was playing with my E open. See, it's always open. I'm having that always not open but closed, but always closed. A little slower.
No tabs on screen today, boys. Back in, it was just watch the video, use your booklet, press pause. If the tape got messed up, tough luck.
Then as you practice, you can develop it and go faster.
I literally have no idea what he's doing. Or really, does anyone get lessons how to play slap bass? You just kind of listen and find your own way. And I've never seen two people that have identical slap bass technique. Everyone just finds their own way. All right, let's check out Bass All-Star Series. So this is the most 80s thing you've ever seen. Like, it's all these famous bass players playing horrible 80s basses that should all have been burned. So let me get that one up. It was a strange time for music, the 80s. Like, people just thought because the technology was there, they had to use it. And thank God everyone has gone back to using just normal basses these days. Because in my opinion, most of these active basses sound like absolute garbage. All right, here we go. So who's in this? Nate Neast. Check that out. All the buttons. Mr. Larry Graham. Oh, he's the only one not using active bass. Fair play to him. Legend. Look at this thing. Headless, of course. Steinberg. James Jamerson's son. James Jamerson Jr. Lewis Johnson himself. Wearing a tux and using some weird active jazz bass. Byron Miller. Never heard of him. Chuck Rainey. They're all using these active super basses, you might call them. This one, the more buttons the better. Like, that was the mark of the bass. The more buttons the better it was. Can't knock the fashion though. Like, the haircuts, the waistcoats, matching waistcoat to the bass there, Verdon White. Like, this is a horrible bass. Like, look at it. I thought Verdon White was famous for playing like jazz basses, but they were always getting these for free, I suppose, so they had to play them. He's a killer bass player. and killer style.
Verdi,
Always have a
the
matching
Earth, Wind & Fire
waistcoat.
recordings, your bass tone is always so crystal clear, percussive, but you can always hear the pitch. You've always played with the fingers.
Yeah, I'm originally a classically trained bass player, so learning how to play with my fingers was pretty much the most technique, the way I started my technique of playing, using two fingers. And with uprights, you have to play like that. And as with the bass guitar, I started. And it gave me an opportunity to have a lot of flexibility, to learn the tone of the bass, different positions. So that's how I started with playing two fingers.
Is there a favored spot on the bass you like to anchor your hand? Or?
Yeah, I generally hold it right here for starters, and then as the tempo of the tune goes.
Imagine if you came into one of these recordings these days, just like wearing this get up. If I had like hairspray in my hair, like blow it out, red waistcoat, all this, like, so they'd look at me like I was gone completely mad.
Need to hold it.
But I think we should have more of this.
Different places on the bass. But then I hold it. Originally in the older days when I had a Telecaster, they had little areas where you could put your thumb,
anchor,
like a little
thumb anchor,
thumb bridge.
Right.
But now, you just put it where you need it. On my 5-string, I'll put it on the 5th string. But here I'll just put it where I can find it.
So it's there if you need it. And you generally using two fingers, sort of as a rule, or that's just natural?
It's very natural. When I started as a player, it just came very naturally. It wasn't anything I had to develop, because studying classically, you're practicing 8, 9, 10 hours a day. Think about where his hands.
There's a lot of talking in these videos and not so much playing.
On the arrangement of "Got to Get You Into My Life," there's so.
But I guess back in the day, you didn't actually get to see these guys talk at all. Now it's like everyone's doing a podcast. Everyone has their own podcast, and it's just like you're so used to hearing them talk. But I suppose it was really exciting to get to hear your favorite bass player talk for a while, and just to see them on screen.
Going on, I just think all those horn lines in triplets, and there's a lot of rhythm going on. How did you find your part?
That horn line at the top, I completely stayed out of that one. Originally, Maurice said, "You want to try that line?" I said, "Look, we're going to be here for a year. Let me do what I could do, right?" And so I just, I got out of there, and I just played along with the tune, and the tune was in G. And
yeah, nice groove. That would actually sound good with some octave. Not that much though. Still too much. Nice. Is this how you use these videos? You just kind of watched and figured it out by ear?
I just cut loose. I said, "Look, I'll do the line. I'll overdub the line later when we get back to LA." And we just jammed. We just grooved it. And we didn't think the song was going to come out. So I was actually free. I wasn't as restricted. So in that case, it really was a great thing that happened.
And that's the end of Verdant White. Now we got Freddie Washington. He's obviously going to be slapping and popping at plenty. Well, it's not on a Marcus Miller line. Got the thumb up. Another kind of a Lemick style bass. The Lemick must have been just throwing free basses out.
Freddie, being such a busy session player, you have to be ready for any situation. Would that be the reason using a 5-string bass?
Yes. Yeah. One of the big reasons I'm using a 5-string bass is because of the wide range I can get in tones and low notes.
He's got
now I'll demonstrate for you
4 knobs, 2 switches.
I'll
I
play
don't know what they do.
Line, say something like this in D.
This bass actually does sound nice.
I can drop down to the low D.
Yeah.
So that's one of the big reasons why. Yeah.
Did you have to adapt your right hand position when you switch over to 5-string?
Well,
very much?
Not really, because when I was playing 4-string, I used to rest on the E string.
Mm-hmm.
Now that there's a 5th string, I rest on the B string. So just knowing now that I have that B string there, treating this, it's like you can get confused and think it's an E string, and you can play a F instead of a.
Okay, guys, so that was me watching some bass DVDs. I'm just messing around trying this live streaming thing out. So yeah, like I was saying, I'm doing something wrong with my big muff. Yeah, let's play a bit before I finish up. I'm doing a podcast this week, so I have to record some sounds. So I'm just dialing in all my classic tones. So this will be my distortion. I'll play a few of the riffs that I would be playing live. So this is what I play over the guitar solo in a song called "A Drop." Let me get this dude off the screen. And we're back to normal. Just me. Yep. Let me try use a better camera as well. So there was something weird happening with my webcam. It was like flickering on and off. So there we go. Yeah, like whenever there's a guitar solo, I kind of take that as my opportunity not to go be in front of the guitar solo, but to play something different than what I was playing in the rest of the song. So this is what I play under another guitar solo. It's like you get to do 2 things at once. And then I like a bit of chorus if I'm doing some kind of harmonic-y stuff. So chorus and fretless actually sounds great. I don't play fretless. Don't play fretless at gigs, but I always record at least one song on every album with the fretless. So I wouldn't be the best fretless player, but in studio, you know, I can concentrate enough to keep the intonation in check. So this is like one of the ballads. So this is a homemade fretless. It used to be a tanglewood, and I had a brass rod. So I said, "Oh, you know what? I'll replace all this. I'll take the pick guard off, make a small pick guard, put a brass rods in where all the screws used to be, so that all those little brass things are actually just bits of brass rod that I cut off. Where's the camera? That I just cut off and filed down, and the I made a scratch pit out of rosewood, but it broke, so that's what the gaffer tape's about. And I took out the P bass pickup because I wanted to use it for something else, and I routed out a hole for this jazz pickup. So sounds pretty good. Apparently, according to Scott Whitley, DiMarzios are the best pickups. I meant the other way around. Yeah, I was thinking that, Johnny. I'm the same. No matter what I do, I can't slap with the thumb up. Once I can do it if I'm really thinking about it, but otherwise it's thumb down all the way. Do you guys own anyone? Do you all own a fretless? I'm assuming everyone gets one at some stage. They mightn't play it much after they get it do the first time, do this a few times, get sick of it. Isn't the thing to do is to put on a small bit of octave? Isn't that the Pino Palladino thing? No. So here's another effect that I like to use. It's just crazy sounding pedal. I think with fretless is you don't really need to spend much money. Like this is DIY one with the frets pulled out. You just need to use round wound strings, not flat wounds, to get that real to really make it moi, and throw some DiMarzio pickups in it, and you should be good to go. I definitely wouldn't advise anyone to break the bank buying a fretless, but you should all own one at least. Do a DIY on it. Turn a cheap Squire into a fretless, and you'll be flying. So this synth wah has like 7 sounds, so I use 2 of them. So I use this one for big swells, and I use this other ridiculous one for an intro. So the thing about this pedal is it sounds really fake and digital, but that's what I like about it. And the tracking is terrible. So if I was to play it fast, it can't track it. You can hear it. But so when you play this long whole notes, and it comes into its own. That's my that's pretty much all I use live. I have a chorus, muff, synth. I have a reverb, which I would use if I was doing some pick grooves, I suppose. Where's my pick? There we go. Probably too much there now. I actually didn't know it doesn't have a name on it, the reverb pedal. I bought it secondhand, but the guy who made it actually saw a picture of it on my Instagram and he contacted me. Turns out it's Moose Electronics. Hey, here we go. Got a comment. Hey Stephen, I bought a Yamaha fretless PJ for €50. Nice at used products, and it's a really nice bass. Nice one, yeah. Sure, Yamaha don't make anything bad, really, do they? Did you ever notice that? You probably did notice this. The symbol for Yamaha, like the motorbikes, everything is two tuning forks stuck together. Like so, on the motorbikes, they obviously started as just a music company, and then they expanded out into making all other kinds of things. But the symbol is still just two tuning forks. But Eric, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, exactly, Johnny. Look what Eric did. He got a €50 Yamaha fretless, and he's flying. So yeah, that's what I'll. When you're playing fretless, or no, when you're playing with a pick, just adding a little reverb. If I played that slower, I could get some. It's kind of hard. Yeah, when you don't play fretless a lot, it can be hard to stay in tune on it if you're playing any kind of complicated lines. And of course, then I really like I use wah pedal a lot in my playing, but not in a kind of funky duck kind of way. Sometimes I do. So this is one of my lines. But generally, when I'm using a wah pedal, I just like put it in one position. It's a Morley dual funk wah. So what I like about the Morley wah pedals is you don't have to turn them on. Like there's no switch. It has like an infrared laser. So as soon as you put your foot down, it's engaged. But I like to hold my foot in one position and it turns into like a high pass filter. So there's my foot held there. So everything I do has that kind of filter on, and then you can use it to like get sustain. And of course, then, yeah, whilst it sounds almost like a talk box. Yeah, I suppose it does. It doesn't work very well through the DI signal. It's more of a, you need to have some air moving and an amp at a gig. Then, of course, on fretless spaces, the classic thing to do is to slide your octave. So, Johnny, once you hear that, you're definitely going to want one. So, if I put my wah pedal on to get more high end, put it right up to the top, I can get those sliding octaves to be even better. Yeah, they're fun. So you just got to find an excuse to get one of them into a song. Maybe just make up a groove. Let me get the groove. Something like that. So, guys, I'm going to log off. So for the next month or so, I'm not going to be posting much stuff. I'm going to have 2 podcasts coming out. I've got Katie Theroux, and I have a few special guests. I won't announce just yet, but I'm working on a big project that's going to be out in September or October, hopefully, if I have it ready. So I'll just be keeping my toe in here, putting up a few things until this big project I'm working on it's a free YouTube thing I'm going to be uploading is ready. So thanks for hanging out. I'm going to log in I'll keep logging on doing these live chats. You know, you kind of have to do it to get used to doing it. I know Johnny Dibble here is watching, and he's done a few too now, and he's got the hang of it totally. Like, he was like building a bass live with this website, Halo Guitars, wasn't that it? Really cool, actually. It's that amazing website. I wonder, does anyone ever actually buy the basses they make with their app? I wouldn't think so. You're not going to build a €2,000 bass with an app and then actually buy it. If you're spending 2 or 3 grand on a custom bass, you're going to ring someone and you're going to just talk about it for fucking ages. But that doesn't matter. It's great that maybe the cool app, it definitely would drive traffic towards their website and maybe get people to buy one. But I was playing with that there today myself, like, and I definitely wasted about 2 hours making some crazy basses. So cheers for that, Johnny. I'd actually never heard of that website. So it's Halo Guitars website, if Eric there who's watching wants to check it out. So yeah, I'll keep logging on. I'm sure I'll get more used to doing these live things. And I set up my pedal board wrong. I put my Zoom B3 before my FX chain, so I can't really use the drums and play at the same time, because then the drums are going through the effects. So yeah, rookie mistake there. So next time I'll try and not do that. So I have a podcast out with Katie Theroux on Wednesday. She's a double bass player and bass educator, and her album actually got voted the best album by Downbeat magazine in 2018. So that's pretty cool. So I'll see you at 7 on Wednesday evening for that chat with her. And in the meantime, take care and stay safe. I had my first gig there on Saturday, first gig since COVID, which was pretty amazing in front of live people. It was weird because I had like a COVID scare at home here. I didn't get COVID myself, but I had to go and get tested, like, and it was just I wasn't really in the mood to go up to be around people, because even though I got the all clear to go and do whatever I want, I was still feeling weird, like, being around people, because I don't know, when you get a scare like that, it just puts you off, being around people. But being on stage and in front of an audience, that was amazing. It was like being 17 again, the buzz of people seeing you play, like, and feeling the big sound move, because I'm in my shed here. I'm mainly using headphones most of the time, my neighbor. I don't want to annoy my neighbors. Like they're really good at allowing me to be having a music shed to begin with. So anyway, take care, guys, and I'm gonna go play some video games for the evening. And yeah, have a good one.